The stars looked peaceful through the main viewing window of the EDS Nemesis. Captain Jackson Riley stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the distant points of light as his ship moved silently through space. The Nemesis was the pride of Earth's fleet, a dark, sleek vessel that could outrun and outfight anything else humans had ever built. "Status report," Riley said, his voice calm and steady. Lieutenant Amanda Foster looked up from her console. Her fingers stopped moving across the glowing controls for a moment. "All systems normal, Captain. We're on course for Proxima Centauri. We should arrive in 3 hours." Riley nodded. 3 hours until they would know what happened to the human outpost that had gone silent 2 days ago. 3 hours until they might face whatever threat had scared away the mighty Galactic Concordate forces that were supposed to be guarding this sector. Commander Nathan Walsh approached, datapad in hand. He was a tall man with short gray hair and serious eyes. "Captain, I've reviewed our mission briefing again. Something doesn't add up." "Explain," Riley said, turning away from the stars. "The Vexillians pulled their forces out without any warning. They didn't even notify Earth. The Arcturus ships left right after, and then the Zeta Dominion vessels just vanished." Walsh frowned. All 3 major powers of the Concordate abandoning their posts at the same time. Riley's jaw tightened. The Galactic Concordate had kept peace in this part of space for almost 200 years. Earth had tried to join many times but was always rejected. Humans were too aggressive, they said, too unpredictable, too dangerous. "They've never respected us," Riley said quietly. 200 years of peace for them while Earth has had to fight off pirates and raiders alone. Science Officer Samantha Collins joined them, her red hair tied back in a neat bun. "Captain, I've been analyzing the last transmissions from our outpost. There's something strange in the background radiation patterns." Before she could explain further, a flashing light appeared on the command console. The communications officer, Lisa Rodriguez, pressed her hand to her earpiece. "Admiral Blackwell is calling, sir. Priority 1. The main screen changed to show Admiral Olivia Blackwell's face. She looked tired, with dark circles under her eyes. "Captain Riley," she said without greeting. "The situation has changed. We've lost contact with all our outposts in 3 sectors now. Not just Proxima Centauri." Riley felt a chill run down his spine. "All of them? What about our colony on Epsilon 3? Gone silent too." The Admiral's voice was grim. "Satellites show the colony is still there, but no one is answering calls." "Commander," Walsh stepped forward. "Admiral, have you confronted the Concordate about their forces withdrawing?" "We've tried. They're stonewalling us. The official line is that they're repositioning assets due to strategic necessities." Blackwell's expression showed what she thought of that excuse. "But we've received an unofficial tip from a sympathetic Arcturus officer. They were ordered to leave because something is coming, something the Concordate has dealt with before." Riley exchanged glances with Walsh. "They're sacrificing our outposts to save themselves?" "That's my read of the situation, Captain." Blackwell's face hardened. "Which is why I'm changing your orders. The Nemesis is no longer just investigating. You are authorized to engage and destroy any hostile forces threatening Earth's territories." The bridge went silent. Everyone knew what that meant. The Nemesis wasn't just a fast ship with good shields. It carried weapons that no other Earth vessel had, experimental technology that had never been used in actual combat. "Admiral," Riley said carefully, "if we use the Helios array, the Concordate will know we've been developing forbidden technology. Then they shouldn't have left our people to die." Blackwell's voice was like steel. "The Nemesis is the only ship we have that might be able to handle whatever's out there. You're authorized to use any means necessary to protect our citizens and find out what's happening." After the call ended, Riley turned to his crew. They were the best Earth had to offer, skilled, brave, and loyal, and now they might be the only hope for the humans living in the outpost worlds. "Set course for Epsilon 3, he ordered. "Maximum speed." The Nemesis accelerated, its advanced engines pushing it faster than any other human ship could go. As they traveled, Science Officer Collins continued studying the strange readings from the outposts. "Captain," she said after an hour of work, I've isolated something in the data. Before each outpost went silent, there was a spike in void energy. Void energy? Walsh asked. I thought that was theoretical. Collins nodded. It is. Or it was. It's energy from the space between realities. The theories say it could be used to tear holes in space itself. Riley frowned. Could the Concordat have this technology? No, Collins said firmly. Their ships use standard fusion drives and quantum gates. This is something else, something more advanced. Lieutenant Eric Donovan spoke up from the weapons station. Sir, if we're facing void technology, will our weapons even work against it? Riley looked at him. The Helios array might. It was designed to counter technologies we've never encountered before. But we've never tested it against anything like this, Walsh pointed out. Then we'll be testing it today, Riley said grimly. The Nemesis dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Epsilon 3. The planet looked peaceful from orbit. Blue oceans, white clouds, green land masses. But the colony's defense satellites were dark, and no ships moved in the space around the planet. Scan for life signs, Riley ordered. Foster worked her console, then looked up with relief. I'm detecting human life signs in the colony. They're alive down there. Then why aren't they responding to communications? Walsh wondered. Unknown energy signature detected, Donovan suddenly called out. Coming from the far side of the planet. The main screen, something emerged from behind Epsilon 3. It wasn't a ship, not really. It looked more like a crystal the size of a small moon, with smaller crystal shapes moving around it. It glowed with an inner light that shifted and pulsed, in patterns that hurt the eyes. What is that? Foster whispered. Collins was already analyzing the readings. The void energy is coming from it. Captain, I think this is what the Concordat ran from. The crystal entity began to move toward the colony on the planet. Open a channel, Riley ordered. All frequencies. Rodriguez tried, shaking her head after a moment. No response, sir. It's getting closer to the colony, Walsh reported. 2 minutes until it's in range to do whatever it does. Riley made his decision. Battle stations, power up all weapons, prepare the Helios array. The crew moved quickly, the ship's lights dimming slightly as energy was diverted to the weapon systems. The Nemesis positioned itself between the crystal entity and the planet. Sir, Foster said quietly, if we reveal what the Nemesis can really do, Earth will face consequences from the Concordat. Riley's eyes never left the strange crystal as it grew larger on the screen. If we don't stop that thing, there won't be an Earth to face consequences. The Nemesis's outer hull began to shift, plates moving aside to reveal the hidden weapon beneath. Humanity's deadliest creation, about to meet its first real test. Helios array charged and ready, Donovan reported. Riley took a deep breath. Target, the main crystal. Fire when ready. The fate of Epsilon 3, and perhaps all of humanity, now rested on whether Earth's secret weapon would work against an enemy that even the mighty Concordat feared to face. The Helios array hummed with power as it prepared to fire. The sound vibrated through the entire ship, making the deck plates tremble beneath the crew's feet. Captain Riley gripped the arms of his command chair, his knuckles white. Target locked, Lieutenant Donovan announced, his finger hovering over the firing control. Wait, Science Officer Collins suddenly called out. The crystal entity is changing. On the main screen, the massive crystal structure was shifting. Parts of it moved and rearranged, forming what looked almost like a face, a giant, alien face, made of translucent crystal pieces. We're receiving a transmission, Rodriguez said, sounding surprised. It's coming from the crystal. Riley hesitated, then nodded. Put it through. Keep the Helios array ready. The screen flickered and the face of crystal became clearer. There were no features they could recognize as eyes or a mouth, just patterns of light that shifted and pulsed as a voice filled the bridge. Earth vessel, the voice said, sounding like multiple voices speaking at once. We are the Axiom. You are not authorized to be in this sector. Riley stood up from his chair. This is Captain Jackson Riley of the Earth Defense Ship Nemesis. You are approaching an Earth colony. State your intentions. The crystal face pulsed, with light. This sector has been designated for harvesting by agreement with the Galactic Concordat. All non-axiom life forms should have been removed. A chill ran through the bridge crew. Commander Walsh moved to stand beside Riley. Harvesting? Walsh asked quietly. The axiom continued. Your colony will be processed. The energy will feed our expansion. This is the agreement we have maintained with the Concordat for 300 of your years. Riley's jaw tightened. There is no agreement with Earth. Our colony is under our protection, and we will defend it. Your species was not included in the negotiations, the axiom stated simply. The Concordat speaks for all biological life in this sector, not for us, Riley said firmly. Withdraw now, or we will open fire. The crystal face seemed to study the Nemesis more carefully. Your vessel contains unusual technology. You should not possess such advancements, Collins whispered to Riley. Captain, I think it's detecting the Helios array. The axiom's voice grew louder. You will surrender your vessel for examination. The technology you possess is restricted. Restricted by whom? Riley demanded. By the ancient accords. By the laws of space and time. The crystal pulsed more rapidly. Your species is too young to wield such power. Lieutenant Foster spoke up from her station. Captain, I'm detecting energy buildups in the smaller crystal formations. They're moving to surround us. Riley made his decision. We will not surrender. This is your final warning. Leave this system immediately. The axiom's response was cold. Then you will be harvested first. The smaller crystal ships suddenly accelerated toward the Nemesis, energy beams lancing out from their tips. Shields up. Evasive maneuvers, Riley ordered as he dropped back into his command chair. The Nemesis banked hard, its advanced engines responding instantly to Foster's commands. The ship shook as several energy beams struck the shields. Shields at 82%, Walsh reported, checking the damage readout. Their weapons are unlike anything we've seen before. They're not just hitting our shields, they're draining them somehow. Return fire, Riley ordered. Standard weapons only. Let's see how they respond. The Nemesis fired its conventional weapons, plasma cannons and quantum torpedoes. The energy blast struck several of the smaller crystal ships. Some shattered into pieces, but others seemed to absorb the attacks and grow brighter. 5 enemy ships destroyed, Donovan reported, but the others are adapting to our weapons. Another volley of energy beams struck the Nemesis, more powerful than before. Shields at 64%, Walsh said grimly. They're learning fast. The main crystal entity remained stationary, watching the battle. More small crystal ships emerged from it, joining the attack. We can't keep this up, Foster warned as she struggled to keep the Nemesis from being surrounded. There are too many of them. Riley knew she was right. The conventional weapons weren't enough. Collins, what's the status of the Helios array? Fully charged and ready, she replied. But Captain, there's something you should know. The array is reacting to the axiom's energy signature. It's almost like it was designed specifically to counter this technology, Riley frowned. That's impossible. We've never encountered these beings before. I don't understand it either, Collins said. But the array's systems are optimizing themselves automatically. It's like they recognize the threat. The ship rocked, again as more energy beams struck. Shields at 47%, Walsh announced. We need to make a decision fast. Riley looked at the screen, where more and more crystal ships were gathering. Behind them, the main crystal entity was slowly moving toward the colony again. If we use the array, the Concordat will know what we've built, Foster said quietly. And if we don't, thousands of our people will die, Riley responded, and we'll die with them. He made his choice. Prepare to fire the Helios array. Target the main crystal entity. Donovan's fingers moved over his console. Array targeting systems engaged. Lock established. The front section of the Nemesis began to transform. Armor plates slid aside, revealing a complex arrangement of technology beneath. A soft blue light began to glow from within the exposed sections, growing brighter by the second. The Axiom's voice came through again. "You possess the sundering light. This is forbidden." "Not by us," Riley said firmly. "Final warning. Withdraw now." "Your species must be eliminated," the Axiom declared. "You are too dangerous to be allowed to develop further." All the crystal ships suddenly changed course, converging on the Nemesis at once. "They're making a suicide run," Walsh shouted. "Fire the array," Riley ordered. Lieutenant Donovan pressed the firing control. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then a pulse of pure white light erupted from the Nemesis, expanding outward in a perfect sphere. Where it touched the crystal ships, they simply stopped. They didn't explode or break apart. They just froze in space, the light inside them fading. The wave continued outward until it reached the main crystal entity. The massive structure shuddered as the energy touched it. Cracks appeared across its surface, light spilling out from within. "It's working," Collins said in amazement. "The array is disrupting their energy matrix somehow." The Axiom's voice came through once more, now distorted and breaking up. "How do you possess the light of the precursors? Your kind should not have this knowledge." Riley leaned forward. "What are you talking about?" "What precursors?" But there was no answer. The cracks in the main crystal entity grew larger, spreading across its entire surface. Then, with a final pulse of light, it shattered into thousands of pieces. The bridge crew watched in silence as the fragments of the Axiom drifted apart, their inner light fading to nothing. "All enemy ships neutralized," Donovan reported after. "A moment, scan the colony," Riley ordered, turning to Foster. She worked her console quickly. "Life signs stable. Everyone down there appears to be unharmed." Riley let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. "Open a channel to the colony. Let them know they're safe." As Rodriguez established communications with Epsilon 3, Commander Walsh moved closer to Riley. "What did it mean about precursors?" he asked quietly. "And how did our array work so perfectly against something we've never encountered before?" Riley shook his head. "I don't know, but I intend to find out." He turned to Collins. "I want a full analysis of everything that just happened, and I want to know exactly how the Helios array was able to counter their technology so effectively." "Yes, Captain." She nodded, already lost in thought. The view screen showed the colony now, the lights of the human settlement shining in the darkness. They were safe for now. But Riley couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something much larger. "Set course for Earth," he ordered. "Maximum speed. Admiral Blackwell needs to know what happened here, and what we learned about the Concordat." As the Nemesis turned away from the shattered remains of the Axiom, Riley wondered what other secrets the galaxy might be hiding from humanity, and what other secrets might be hidden in his own ship's mysterious weapon. The trip back to Earth was quiet. The crew of the Nemesis spent most of their time studying what had happened during the battle with the Axiom. Science Officer Collins barely left her laboratory, analyzing data from the Helios array and the strange readings they had collected from the crystal entities. Captain Riley sat in his quarters, reviewing the message he would deliver to Admiral Blackwell. The truth was hard to accept. The Galactic Concordat, which presented itself as the guardian of peace in the galaxy, had been sacrificing outlying systems to these Axiom beings, and they had never warned Earth. A soft beep from his door interrupted his thoughts. "Come in," he called. Commander Walsh entered, holding a datapad. "Captain, Collins asked me to bring you this. She's made some discoveries about the Helios array." Riley took the pad and read through the report quickly. Then he read it again, more slowly, his face growing pale. "Is this confirmed?" he asked. Walsh nodded. She triple-checked the results. The technology in the Helios array isn't entirely human in origin. Riley stood up and paced across his quarters. Parts of it match technology found in ancient ruins on Mars. Technology that predates human civilization. He looked at Walsh. "Why wasn't I informed of this before?" "Collins only discovered it after the battle," Walsh explained. "Something about the way the array reacted to the Axiom revealed its true nature. It seems the scientists who built it borrowed from technologies they found in the Mars ruins. The precursors, Riley said quietly, remembering the Axiom's final words. The ancient civilization that disappeared from our solar system thousands of years ago. Walsh nodded again. And somehow they knew about the Axiom. They had weapons, designed to fight them. Riley's communication console beeped. It was Lieutenant Foster from the bridge. Captain, we're approaching Earth, but there's a problem. 3 Concordate warships are in orbit. They're demanding to speak with you. Riley and Walsh exchanged worried glances. I'll be right there. On the bridge, the main screen showed the 3 alien vessels. The largest was a Vexillian dreadnought, its hull covered in gold and silver markings. The other 2 were an Arcturus cruiser and a smaller Zeta Dominion scout ship. They're hailing us again, Rodriguez reported from the communications station. Riley straightened his uniform. Put them through. The screen changed to show 3 figures. In the center was High Commander Vexlor of the Vexillian Empire, his scaled face and 4 eyes regarding Riley coldly. To his left was Overseer Thal of the Arcturus Collective, her pale, almost translucent skin glowing slightly. And to the right was Observer Zinn of the Zeta Dominion, hidden as always beneath hooded robes. Captain Riley, Vexlor began, his voice, deep and rumbling. Your vessel will power down all weapons and prepare to be boarded. You have violated the terms of the Galactic Concordat by deploying forbidden technology. Riley kept his face neutral. High Commander, my ship was defending an Earth colony from an unprovoked attack. We acted in self-defense. The Axiom are not your concern, Thal said, her voice musical but cold. Arrangements have been made to manage their harvesting activities. Arrangements that involve sacrificing innocent people? Riley's voice rose slightly. You never warned Earth about the Axiom. You pulled your forces out and left our colonies defenseless. Observer Zinn spoke, his actual voice masked by a translator. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. The Axiom requires certain resources. We provide them with access to agreed-upon systems. In exchange, they leave the core worlds alone. Riley felt anger building inside him. And Earth's colonies were part of this agreement, without our knowledge or consent? Earth is not a member of the Concordat, Vexlor stated flatly. Your opinion was not required. Walsh stepped forward. So you just decided our people were expendable? Thal's glow pulsed slightly. It is regrettable. But the alternative would be far worse. The Axiom are ancient and powerful. This arrangement has kept the peace for centuries. Some peace, Riley said bitterly. Now, if you'll excuse us, we have a report to deliver to our leadership. You will deliver nothing, Vexlor growled. The technology you used against the Axiom is forbidden under interstellar law. Your ship will be impounded, and your weapon confiscated. Riley straightened to his full height. The Helios Array is Earth technology, developed for our defense. You have no authority over us. Zinn's hooded form leaned forward. We detected precursor energy signatures. You have accessed technology beyond your species' development level. This cannot be allowed. Collins had quietly entered the bridge during the conversation. Now she moved to stand beside Riley. The technology is partly based on artifacts found in our own solar system, she said firmly. On Mars, a planet that belongs to humanity, whatever was left there was left for us to find. The 3 Concordat leaders seemed startled by this information. Impossible, Thal whispered. The precursors erased all evidence of their existence from inhabited systems before they departed. Apparently not all of it, Riley said. Now I ask again, please allow us to pass. We have no quarrel with the Concordat. Vexlor's scales darkened with anger. You have destroyed an Axiom harvester. They will demand compensation. They will demand punishment. We were defending our people, Riley insisted. People you abandoned. A new voice joined the conversation as Admiral Blackwell's face appeared on a separate screen. And Earth stands behind Captain Riley's actions completely. The 3 Concordat leaders turned in surprise. Admiral Blackwell, Vexlor acknowledged stiffly. This is a Concordat matter. It became an Earth matter when you designated our colonies for sacrifice, Blackwell replied, her voice like ice. We have transmitted all evidence of your agreement with the Axiom to every major world in the galaxy. Your secret arrangement is no longer secret. Thal's glow dimmed noticeably. You have no understanding of the consequences of your actions. We understand perfectly, Blackwell said. You've been appeasing these Axiom beings instead of standing against them. And now that we've shown they can be defeated, you're afraid. Observer. Zin's hooded form shifted uncomfortably. The Axiom will seek vengeance. They will send more harvesters. Many more. Then perhaps it's time the galaxy stopped hiding, Riley suggested. Perhaps it's time we all stood together against this threat. Vexlor snarled. Your primitive species has no place dictating galactic policy. Our primitive species just did what yours was afraid to do, Walsh pointed out. We fought back, and we won. Admiral Blackwell spoke again. I've received authorization from Earth's United Council. We are demanding immediate membership in the Galactic Concordat with full voting rights. The three alien leaders looked shocked. Preposterous, Vexlor growled. Is it? Blackwell asked calmly. We have technology that can defeat the Axiom. Technology you need. And now every world knows about your secret deals. How do you think they'll react when they learn you've been offering up innocent people as sacrifices? Thal and Zin exchanged glances, then whispered something to Vexlor. After a long moment, the Vexillian commander spoke reluctantly. We will consider your request for membership. The full Concordat Council must vote on such matters. Good, Blackwell nodded. The Nemesis will be Earth's representative at this vote. Captain Riley will speak for humanity. The ship with the forbidden weapon? Vexlor's scales darkened further. The ship that saved innocent lives, Blackwell corrected. Now please move your vessels. The Nemesis is returning to Earth for resupply before traveling to the Concordat Center. The communication ended, and the screen returned to showing the three alien ships. Slowly, reluctantly, they moved aside, creating a path for the Nemesis to proceed to Earth. Riley looked around at his crew. They had stood against the Axiom and won. They had stood against the Concordat and held their ground. But he knew this was just the beginning. Lieutenant Foster, take us home, he ordered. As the Nemesis moved past the Concordat vessels toward the blue planet ahead, Collins stepped closer to Riley. Captain, she said quietly. There's something else about the Helios array, something I didn't put in my report yet. What is it? Riley asked. When it activated against the Axiom, it seemed to evolve somehow. It adapted itself, becoming more efficient. The technology is changing, Captain. Learning. Riley frowned. Is it dangerous? I don't know, Collins admitted. But I think the precursors left it for us for a reason. I think they knew the Axiom would return someday. Riley gazed out at Earth growing larger on the view screen. Humanity had just taken its first steps onto a much larger, more dangerous, galactic stage, and the Nemesis would lead the way. Then we'd better be ready when they do, he said softly. 1 week later, the Nemesis approached the massive space station that served as the headquarters of the Galactic Concordat. The station hung in space like a giant silver wheel, slowly turning to create gravity for the thousands of diplomats and officials from hundreds of worlds who lived and worked there. Captain Riley stood on the bridge watching as they drew closer. The Nemesis had been resupplied and partially repaired, but signs of battle damage still showed on its hull. Earth's leadership had decided to leave these marks visible, a reminder of what they had faced and overcome. Concordat Control is hailing us, Rodriguez reported from her communication station. They're assigning us a docking bay. Acknowledged, Riley said. Lieutenant Foster, take us in slowly. Let them get a good look at us. Foster smiled slightly as her fingers moved across the controls. Yes, sir. The Nemesis glided toward the station, its dark hull standing out among the more colorful ships of other species. Many vessels moved away as they approached, their captains clearly nervous about the Earth ship that had destroyed an Axiom harvester. We're being scanned, Walsh noted. Multiple scans from different sources. Riley nodded. They're looking for the Helios array. The array had been partially concealed again, hidden behind armor plates, but still ready if needed. Let them look, Collins said from her station. They won't understand what they're seeing anyway, not without the activation codes. As the Nemesis docked with the station, Riley gathered his team. Commander Walsh, Science Officer Collins, and Lieutenant Rodriguez would accompany him to the council chamber. Foster and Donovan would remain aboard, keeping the ship ready for departure if necessary. Remember, Riley told his team as they prepared to disembark, we represent all of Earth now. The council will try to intimidate us to make us seem small and primitive. Don't let them. The station interior was vast and elegant, with high ceilings and walls made of materials that seemed to glow with their own light. Aliens of many species moved through the wide corridors, some humanoid, others utterly different in form. Many stopped to stare as the Earth team passed by, whispers following in their wake. A tall, thin alien with blue skin and 4 arms approached them. Captain Riley? I am Facilitator Cree. I will escort you to the council chamber. Riley nodded politely. Thank you, Facilitator. As they walked, Cree spoke in a quiet voice. You have caused quite a stir, Captain. No one has ever destroyed an axiom harvester before, at least not in many centuries. We did what was necessary to protect our people, Riley replied simply. Of course. Cree's large eyes blinked slowly. But you should know, not everyone on the council is displeased with your actions. Some have long argued that the arrangement with the axiom is morally questionable. This was surprising news. Then why has it continued for so long? Fear, Cree said softly. The axiom are very old, Captain, and very powerful. The last time they were defied, entire systems were left lifeless. Before Riley could ask more questions, they arrived at a massive set of doors that slid open silently as they approached. Beyond was the council chamber, a vast circular room with rising tiers of seats, almost like an ancient amphitheater. Representatives from dozens of species filled those seats, their quiet conversations creating a low hum that filled the space. In the center of the chamber was a circular platform. Facilitator Cree directed the Earth team toward it. You will stand there. The 7 high counselors will address you first, then others may speak. Answer truthfully, but Cree hesitated. Be careful. Words can be weapons here. Riley and his team stepped onto the platform. Immediately, lights from above focused on them, and the room fell silent. From the highest tier, 7 figures looked down at them. Riley recognized Vexilor of the Vexillians, Thal of the Arcturus Collective, and Zin of the Zeta Dominion. The other 4 were from species he had never seen before. Captain Jackson Riley of Earth, a voice announced, echoing through the chamber. You stand before the High Council of the Galactic Concordat to explain your actions and to present Earth's petition for membership. The central figure, a being with metallic skin that reflected the light like a mirror, spoke first. I am High Counselor Morrow of the Thrakan Alliance. We have reviewed the data concerning your encounter with the Axiom Harvester. You used technology that has not been seen in this galaxy for over 10,000 years. Riley nodded. We call it the Helios Array. It was developed based on artifacts found in our own solar system. Murmurs spread through the chamber at this statement. Vexilor leaned forward. Impossible. The precursors left no technology behind when they departed. Apparently, they did, Collins spoke up, her voice clear and confident. On Mars, our neighboring planet. Ruins buried beneath the surface for thousands of years. High Counselor Thal's glow pulsed with agitation. If this is true, then the precursors chose your species specifically. This is troubling. Why? Riley asked. Who were these precursors, and what connection did they have to the axiom? The 7 counselors exchanged glances. Then Morrow spoke again. The precursors were the first advanced civilization in our galaxy, as far as we know. They seeded many worlds with life, guided the evolution of countless species, including, it seems, your own. Zin continued, his translator making his voice sound flat and emotionless. And then, approximately 12,000 years ago, they encountered the Axiom, a species from beyond our galaxy, a species that exists to consume and expand. There was war, another counselor added, this one a small furred being with large eyes, a terrible war that lasted for centuries. Many worlds were destroyed, and then suddenly the precursors were gone, vanished, and the Axiom became dormant, only awakening periodically to harvest. Riley looked at Collins, who seemed as surprised as he was by this information. And the Concordat made a deal with them, to let them harvest certain worlds? It was necessary for survival, Vexlor insisted. We could not fight them, not after. What happened to the precursors? Riley stood straighter. But we did fight them, and we won. One battle, Thal said dismissively. Against a single harvester. There are thousands more, and now they will come in greater numbers because of your actions. Then help us fight them, Walsh suggested, speaking for the first time. Together we might stand a chance. Laughter rippled through parts of the chamber, quickly silenced by Morrow raising a hand. You do not understand, Morrow said. The Concordat has maintained peace for centuries by avoiding conflict with the Axiom. Your actions have endangered that peace. Riley felt his patience wearing thin. Peace bought with the lives of others isn't peace. It's surrender. A new voice came from the side of the chamber. The human speaks truth. All heads turned to see who had spoken. A reptilian being with crimson scales stood from his seat. I am Ambassador Krell of the Drac Confederacy. My people have lost 3 colony worlds to the Axiom harvesting in the past century alone. Worlds that the Concordat deemed expendable. Other voices joined in, some supporting Krell's words, others denouncing them. The chamber grew loud with argument until Morrow struck a crystal pillar beside his seat, creating a sound that cut through the noise. Order, he commanded. This is not why we are here today. We must decide on Earth's petition for membership. Before that, Riley said firmly, I want to know more about these precursors and why they left technology on our world. The counselors looked uncomfortable. Finally, Zin spoke. There is a theory, just a theory, that the precursors did not simply vanish, that they evolved, transformed themselves into something beyond physical form. But before they did, the small furred counselor added, they may have left behind safeguards, seeds of resistance planted in promising young species. Species that might one day stand against the Axiom if they ever returned in force. Riley felt a chill run down his spine. You think that's what the technology on Mars was? A safeguard? If so, Thal said, her glow pulsing rapidly, then the precursors foresaw something terrible, something that has not yet come to pass. The chamber grew quiet as everyone considered the implications of this. After a long moment, Morrow spoke again. We will now vote on Earth's petition for membership in the Concordat. But know this, Captain Riley. If accepted, Earth will be expected to share the Helios array technology with the Concordat for the common defense. Riley shook his head. That wasn't part of our agreement. The technology remains Earth's, though we're willing to use it to protect others. Unacceptable, Vexlor growled. You cannot be allowed to maintain such power exclusively. Before Riley could respond, alarms began to sound throughout the station. Red lights flashed, and the chamber erupted in confused voices. A station official rushed in, looking panicked. High counselors! Multiple void energy signatures detected. Axiom vessels are appearing throughout the system. On the massive view screen that covered one wall of the chamber, the image appeared. Dozens of crystal ships, larger than the one the Nemesis had faced, emerging from what looked like tears in space itself. Morrow turned to Riley, his metallic face showing emotion for the first time, fear. It seems, he said quietly, that the Axiom have decided to answer your challenge, Captain. Chaos erupted in the council chamber. Representatives from dozens of worlds rushed toward the exits, their voices raised in panic. The 7 High Counselors attempted to restore order, but fear had taken hold. Captain Riley turned to his team. "We need to get back to the Nemesis now." As they hurried through the crowded corridors of the station, Riley contacted the ship. "Foster, Donovan, prepare for emergency departure. The Axiom are here, and there are a lot of them." "Already on it, Captain," Foster's voice came through clearly. "We're tracking multiple crystal ships approaching the station, bigger than the one we faced before. When they reached the docking bay, they found Facilitator Kree waiting for them." "Captain Riley," the blue-skinned alien said urgently, "the High Council requests that you remain at the station. They wish to discuss options. They want to use us as a shield," Walsh said bluntly. Kree didn't deny it. "The Nemesis is the only ship that has successfully destroyed an Axiom vessel. The Council believes your presence might deter an attack on the station." Riley shook his head. "We're leaving, but we're not running away. Tell the Council we'll engage the Axiom directly." "That's suicide," Kree protested. "There are at least 20 Harvester ships out there." "Then we'd better hurry," Riley said, leading his team toward the Nemesis. Once aboard, Riley quickly took command. "Foster, get us clear of the station. Donovan, power up all weapon systems, including the Helios array. Collins, I need everything." "You've learned about the array's capabilities." As the Nemesis detached from the station and moved away, the view screen showed the approaching Axiom fleet. The crystal ships were massive, each one at least 3 times the size of the Harvester they had faced at Epsilon 3. "They're not attacking the station," Walsh observed. "They're coming straight for us." Collins looked up from her console. "Captain, I've analyzed the array's energy patterns from our last encounter. It seems to gain power when it directly interacts with Axiom technology, almost like it's feeding on their energy. Can we use that somehow?" Riley asked. "Maybe." Collins typed rapidly on her keyboard. "If we reconfigure the array to absorb energy rather than just disrupt it, we might be able to use their own power against them." "Do it," Riley ordered. "How long will it take?" 10 minutes, maybe less." Riley looked at the approaching fleet. "We don't have 10 minutes. Foster, evasive maneuvers. Keep us away from them as long as possible." The Nemesis accelerated away from the station, its advanced engines pushing it to maximum speed. The Axiom ships followed, their crystal structures glinting in the light of the system's star. "They're gaining on us," Foster reported, "and they're trying to surround us." "Standard weapons online," Donovan announced. "But they weren't very effective last time." Riley made a quick decision. "Target the smallest ship with conventional weapons. Let's see how they respond." The Nemesis fired a barrage of quantum torpedoes. They struck one of the smaller crystal ships, causing visible damage but not destroying it. "All Axiom ships are now accelerating," Walsh reported. "They're taking the bait." "Captain," Rodriguez called from communications. "We're receiving a transmission from the station. It's being broadcast to all ships in the system." "Put it through," Riley ordered. The screen showed High Counselor Morrow. "Attention, Axiom vessels. This is the Galactic Concordat. We wish to reaffirm our arrangement. The Earth ship acted without our knowledge or approval. We are prepared to offer additional harvesting rights in compensation for—" Riley cut the transmission. "They're throwing us to the wolves," he said grimly. "Can't say I'm surprised," Walsh muttered. "Collins, status on the array modifications?" Riley asked. "Almost there, Captain. But there's something else." Collins looked up, her face serious. "The array is changing again. The code is rewriting itself, accessing systems beyond what we designed. Is it dangerous to us?" "I don't think so." Collins shook her head. "It's almost like it's waking up, becoming what it was always meant to be." Before Riley could respond, the ship shuddered as energy beams from the lead Axiom vessel struck their shields. "Shields at 72%, Walsh reported. "They're stronger than before." Another beam hit, more powerful than the last. "Shields at 58%, Walsh updated. "We can't take much more of this." Collins suddenly stood up. "The array modifications are complete, but, Captain, I think we should let it take full control, let it do what it was designed to do." By the precursors, Riley realized Collins nodded. This technology was left specifically to fight the Axiom. I think we need to trust it. Riley hesitated only a moment. Do it. Collins entered a final command, then stepped back from her console. The lights on the bridge dimmed, then brightened, again with a slightly different hue. What's happening? Foster asked, looking around nervously. The answer came not from Collins, but from the ship itself. A voice spoke through the communication system. Not human, not alien, but something in between. Protocol Sunbreaker initiated. Precursor defense system online. Target, Axiom harvesters. The front section of the Nemesis began to transform, but differently than before. The entire hull seemed to shift, plates moving and reconfiguring in ways that should have been impossible. The Helios array expanded, growing larger and more complex. Captain, Donovan said in awe, the weapon systems are changing. The array is integrating with the entire ship. On the view screen, they could see that the Axiom ships had stopped advancing. They were holding position, as if suddenly uncertain. They recognize it, Collins whispered. They know what's happening. The voice spoke again. Axiom energy signatures confirmed, initiating counter-protocol. The Nemesis fired, but not with a beam like before. This time, a pulse of golden light expanded outward in all directions, washing over the Axiom fleet. Where it touched the crystal ships, they began to change, their structures twisting, their light dimming. What's it doing to them? Walsh asked. Not destroying them, Collins said, checking her readings. It's reverting them somehow, changing their energy patterns. As they watched, the Axiom vessels began to break apart, not violently, but as if dissolving. The crystal structures separated into smaller pieces, drifting apart. Axiom consciousness patterns neutralized, the voice announced. Harvester function disabled. Reconfiguration complete. Where the Axiom fleet had been, thousands of small crystal shards now floated in space, glowing with a soft, steady light. They're beautiful, Foster said softly. Collins, what just happened? Riley asked. She shook her head in wonder. The array didn't destroy them. It transformed them, returned them to, I think this might be their original state before they became harvesters. The voice spoke one last time. Protocol complete. Precursor defense system returning to dormant state. Remember, the glow faded from the ship's systems and the hull began to return to its normal configuration. The Helios array retracted, once again hidden within the Nemesis. For a long moment, the bridge crew sat in stunned silence. Then Rodriguez spoke up. Captain, we're being hailed. It's the Concordat station. All 7 High Counselors want to speak with you. Riley smiled slightly. I bet they do. He straightened his uniform. Put them through. The 7 faces appeared on screen, their expressions a mixture of awe, fear, and calculation. Captain Riley, Morrow began, his metallic skin reflecting the lights of the council chamber. What we just witnessed was unprecedented. The Axiom fleet has been neutralized without being destroyed. The technology the precursors left on Mars, Riley said. It wasn't a weapon, not really. It was a cure. Vexilor leaned forward. A cure? What do you mean? Collins answered, moving to stand beside Riley. The Axiom weren't always harvesters. Something changed them, corrupted them. The precursors developed a way to reverse that change, to return them to their original state. This changes everything, Thal said, her glow pulsing rapidly. If the Axiom can be neutralized without destruction, then the harvesting can end. Riley finished for her. No more sacrificing worlds. No more fear. Zin's hooded form shifted. The Concordat owes Earth a great debt. Your petition for membership is, of course, approved, with full voting rights. And we would request that Earth lead a new initiative, Morrow added, a joint mission to locate and neutralize all remaining Axiom harvesters using your precursor technology. Riley exchanged glances with his crew, seeing the pride in their faces. Earth had gone from an outsider, deemed too primitive and aggressive, to a leader among the stars. "We accept," Riley said firmly, "but on one condition: no more secrets, no more sacrificing the few to protect the many. We stand together, or not at all." The 7 counselors conferred briefly, then Morrow nodded. "Agreed. A new era begins today, thanks to the courage of Earth and the wisdom of the precursors who chose your world for their legacy." As the communication ended, Riley looked out at the floating crystal fragments that had once been the dreaded axiom, fleet. They sparkled like stars against the darkness of space. "Collins," he said quietly, "do you think the precursors knew this would happen? That we would find their technology and use it this way?" She smiled. "I think they hoped, Captain. They left us a tool and trusted that when the time came we would use it wisely." The Nemesis turned, heading back toward the Concordate station. Behind them, the transformed axiom crystals began to pulse with a new kind of light. Not the harsh glare of the harvesters, but a gentle giel,